Why do Russians go to fight in Ukraine? It's not for some grand idea, let's be real. It's all about the money. Would you go to war for money? Well, in many parts of Russia, the average salary is around $150 a month. They have this artificially created economical nightmare in the regions, and people can barely survive on that. To make their ends meet, they would take loans, microloans with insanely high interest. It's a vicious cycle, especially in the Russia's poorest regions, especially like the colonies that they have. The Kremlin created this situation on purpose. Then they offer military contracts with huge sign-up bonuses, like huge. People from 5,000 kilometers away would sign up and get their travel tickets paid to go kill some Ukrainians far away from their homes. And once they arrive, they get a bonus payment. It's all about the money. Crazy fucking amounts of money. In the first day of 2025, one of the regions of Russia, Samara to be specific, increased their sign-up bonus from 2 million rubles to 4 million rubles. Basically a $40,000. And there is some couple thousand US federal bonus too. It's insane. It's not even the same value of money that you think of in the United States or Europe. The cost of living is so much lower, and imagine people living in Samara for like $400 a month normally is equal to how you could live in Austin, Texas for like $5,000 a month. So if you adjust for that cost of living thing, you get something like $400,000 sign-up bonus. It's a lot of money. And specifically now, they are trying to push the hardest. Perhaps it's indicating something about the intentions of Russian government to start negotiations, right? Of course not. They just want to capture all of Ukraine, and they just want to make sure they making some progress with it, with their stupid military tactics of just sending more people in. But here is the truth. Most of these Russian recruits are destined to be deleted. They are thrown into meat grinder of massive assaults. It's not a smart strategy, just human waves. We see it every day on the front lines, especially as the footage from the drones that we have. And this is exactly Russia's tactic, this military strategy. They spam their assaults at us and hope to overwhelm, especially given the ammo shortages that we have, given the personnel shortages that we have. And sometimes, I must admit, it's very effective. We see it, really, from our own intel and obviously from open source too, because we can see the map, the front line moving. What makes this even crazier is that Russia is an enormously rich country. Their wealth from oil and gas could make the life better for literally everyone, but instead they use it to fund their war machine. But here is the catch. It's a time-ticking bomb. They're burning through their money to pay for soldiers and bonuses and the military-industrial complex. And it's a very delicate balance for them. On the one hand, pay bigger bonuses to keep men signing up, or pay less and risk losing the front lines. For now, they have chosen bigger bonuses because they're losing men in huge numbers, thanks to Ukrainian drones, mostly. Similarly, they are now able to trick about 30,000 people like that to join the army each month. And also, that's a very interesting dynamic because it's not enough for them. And they also move strategic missiles personnel and all the aircraft personnel to the infantry. And these are actually one of the most interesting prisoners of war that our allies want to talk to, and they do. And also, they do a very active mobilization in the occupied regions of Ukraine. It's a clear sign of a genocide to force occupied people to fight against their own. Obviously, they are not given these crazy paychecks or anything and treated as second-class citizens at best. And what about Ukraine? Let me briefly explain how it works here. Our military salaries, they come from the taxes paid by Ukrainians. That's it. We cannot use international economic aid for our military budget. None of it. And that money goes to support our social systems, which mostly funded by European taxpayers. So big thanks to you for keeping Ukraine alive and our economy and banking system alive for 3 years already. And without that, Ukraine would have collapsed already. So big thank you for that. As a Ukrainian soldier, I get around $500 as a sign-up bonus when signing the contract. My base salary when I'm out of combat is also about $500. That's about 10 times less that I made working in the IT before the invasion. Ukraine simply doesn't have the money to compete financially. We are a poor country fighting a massive war, definitely not of our scale, with many of our ways of making money cut off. It's hard to make, let's say, agricultural products because of minefields, and it's hard to export anything because of Russian warships blocking the sea for the export. But I believe that we have something stronger than money. We are fighting for our survival as a nation, for our families, for our land, and this war decides whether we will exist as people, as a nation in the future. So I think that's what motivates us. Our fight is the right fight for freedom and for the truth. Honestly, I think Russia is deeply irrational, in this war. They have spent hundreds of billions of dollars trying to destroy Ukraine, but imagine if they just spend that money somehow differently. They could have invested in propaganda, offering Ukrainians better opportunities, building infrastructure for long two-side vested interest projects like China does, and created ties between our countries. I believe that was still possible to do even after 2014, and they could have won hearts and minds of many people here, but they didn't. Russia could have just bought Ukraine, really. But that's how we perceive the world and our Western paradigm, I guess. Russia is not rational in our perspective, and that is what we have to account for when trying to analyze them. This war is not just about soldiers and battles, it's about choices. Ukraine is fighting for freedom and survival. Russia is throwing money and lives away to forever colonize us and strip us of our identity, of our freedom, and I think they might just win. Remember that the next time someone says Russian soldiers are just innocent teenagers mobilized to fight this needless war, as they would call it, they are not. They are here on their own will, for money. I wasn't able to post more videos lately. I have lost my uncle in combat. He was fighting with 42nd Mechanized Brigade, so I've been busy with all the funerals and etc. and generally emotionally down a bit. I'm sharing this personal bit because I want you to think what it would be like if that randomly happened to you and your country. No offense, I just want more people to understand what we are going through and for you to be prepared better. I am thankful to you all for your genuine interest in what I have to share with you. I just reached my first 1,000 of subscribers here, and I could not be happier. Thank you very much for your trust, and as usual, I leave all the sources for this little research in the description. You can support my journey by sharing the word or financially on Buy Me a Coffee, since I already was asked about this. I won't buy myself a coffee, but maybe some gear for me and my unit that we need in our missions. Anyway, I wish freedom to you all. Stay frosty.